Hi, this week on EmergingEdTech.com we're looking at assessments, specifically examples of new alternative types of assessments that are in use today in schools across the country. And these assessments I've learned about through reading the 2010 National Education Technology Plan Draft. Now, it's yet to be seen how much the ideas in this plan are going to be incorporated into American education, and I certainly hope a lot of the good ideas there are. But in the meanwhile, there's some great examples discussed there and some great ideas that we can try and take advantage of today. And I love these real-world examples that are showing districts and schools that have come up with these innovative ideas and created assessments that encourage learning and facilitate learning and do more than just measure accumulated knowledge and skills at a single point in time. Alright, so the first example we're going to look at is the work of a former high school physics teacher who developed a web-based assessment tool in which he compiled ideas about force and motion based upon research literature and observations of educators. And some of the ideas are basically correct, some are partially incorrect, and some are seriously flawed. And using these questions as a foundation, sets of questions were developed that were used to inform learning rather than just test what was learned. This tool is called Diagnoseer, and it is available online for free, and teachers can sign up for it. And you can see here at diagnoseer.com. It's available to anybody who wants to give it a shot, and it is sponsored by the National Science Foundation. Our next example is the River City project, which was based at Harvard, and it was developed so that middle school students could acquire concepts in biology, ecology, and epidemiology while planning and implementing scientific investigations in a virtual environment. I provided a link where you can learn some more about the River City project, and I think you'll find it very interesting. The students' activities were assessed through a report that they delivered at the end, as well as looking at the kinds of things they did along the way as they worked through the project individually and in teams. I should mention that the goal of the River City project from the perspective of the students was to determine why River City residents are getting sick. And through their work and their analysis, that's how they kind of learn as they go and create this formative interactive assessment process that is how the project is designed to work. The next example we're going to look at here is the assessment project, which is taking place in Worcester City Public Schools in Massachusetts, and they've developed this web-based system that kind of combines tutoring and assessment activities, and assessment meaning intended to be a blend of assistance and assessment. And my apologies to anybody in or around Massachusetts who is familiar with the right way to pronounce, I forget if it's really Worcester. I've been in the area many years ago and know that it certainly was not pronounced quite as it looks and how it's spelled. So anyway, the assessment project is geared towards middle school math concepts, and it's this adaptive learning kind of process so that the system learns and adopts over time to provide appropriate levels of help, and in doing so it is able to also learn and get smart and predict student results. And as cited here in the post, the system's been found to be more accurate at predicting students' performance on the state exams than the traditional benchmark tests that are in use out there. I've also provided a link in the article to a wiki that they have in place regarding the project, and it provides a great source of additional information about it. The next example I discuss involves classroom response systems and a case in which a physics professor poses multiple choice questions for students. They respond, and then they discuss their answers with students who gave different answers, and in this case the instructor was able to report much higher levels of engagement and better student learning from this combination of classroom response systems and peer instruction. And classroom response systems are a whole very interesting area that really do allow for this much more interactive type of learning and assessment. And I have provided a link to another post in which I discuss them in another case a little more thoroughly. So I hope you find that informative. And our last example is about West Virginia's Tech Steps program, and this is particularly interesting because, if I understand it clearly, it's statewide across many grades that this is utilized, and the idea is that it incorporates 6 technology integration activities for each grade level, and each activity has an assessment rubric associated with it, and instructors will utilize a form to record those the results against the rubric, and this information is collected and available for the student over the course of their progress through multiple grade levels, and it really gives them a statewide student data on technology proficiencies at each grade level. So again, very interesting, and they do have available a website which is right here, and I provided a link for it, so feel free to check it out and learn a little more about it. And that wraps up this week's video blog post. Hope you found it useful. Hope this spurs some creative thinking and discussion amongst you and your peers. And I've also provided a link to the National Education Technology Plan draft. It's a very interesting reading. And that's it. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next week.